Hey, you mad? Well, then you might be pikiru, because that's today's Japanese slang term. On the face value, this is pretty easy to explain because it's just a verbing of the onomatopoeia piki, which means to be so angry that your veins are going to burst. Although, oddly enough, if you look at like English to Japanese dictionaries, a lot of really good ones actually, they'll state that this is read as biki. So look, let's zoom in there. And then they'll have like piki as an alternate version or not even list it. But that's really strange to me. We're not here to think about that. We're here to talk about that piki became pikiru. And you might think, okay, well, that's pretty easy, but there's actually a step in between. Indeed, this might never have happened if piki itself wasn't used as a shortening in manga. So you know that thing they do in manga where their head, I've got a lot of space right here so I can just draw it on there and it fits really well. That little plus kind of thing that they use to show anger. Well, when they show that in manga, they often write piki, and sometimes they break it up or even just write piki to show that it's happening like really quick. Like if you're angry really fast, you know, if the anger just comes on, it's not piki, it's just piki, right? Intensity. And that's a lot easier to attach a ru to, and that's kind of where pikiru as a verb came from. Indeed, if we want to be thorough about it, there's kind of like an interim step even, because after piki became a thing, this led to terms like pikitto naru or pikitto kuru, which you can see here being used to describe character in Kimetsu no Yaiba getting angry. With the vein thing, she's got the veins, the piki veins. And then of course this brings us to the ancient Japanese tradition of why long when short can work good. And so pikiru appeared and is used pretty heavily, being conjugated to all kinds of forms. For instance, in this long tweet here, you can see somebody using it potentially in a way to pikiraseru a lot of people by stating that when people hear something like people that don't watch Pretty Cure are stupid, they don't get mad, pikiranai. But when people are told people who don't read Dostoevsky are stupid, they do get mad, pikiru. And then they go on to claim that this is because the first statement is false, but the second statement is true. I would know the objective reality because I've read Dostoevsky and I have a child. So I've watched a fair bit of Pretty Cure and I don't know what's stupid or not anymore. And while in that post we just saw the plane and the negative plane, in this post here we can see lots of people using pikira nakata, which is of course a very good way to have been, so I'm glad that they all were that way. And as for the timeline, Twitter gives hits going back to 2009, but not 2008. Of course, unfortunately though, this kind of result does pikiraseru me a little bit, because it runs back to the start of Twitter is a really inconclusive finding, as honestly, pre-Twitter internet is just harder to search. But I will say that I did my best and I looked onto the internet and I couldn't find any uses of pikiru before 2009, with all the hits being false ones like this, which is a family which idiosyncratically uses pikiru to mean to steal, which has not taken off. But you know, as long as they pikiranai to that lack of success is not really a problem. However, I should note that there is one different use of pikiru which does see a little bit of use out there. I don't want to be unthorough and pikiraseru any of you, because pikitto can also mean like that something, you pull something. If your body makes a bad sound and has bad feel afterward, well then that is also pikitto naru, and so you can use pikiru to mean like that. Pikitta. So like when this person in 2009 refers to their koshi as a pikiru goshi, the lack of clarity, pikiraseru is watashi. It shows that it exists, and also it exists at least back to the start of the pikiru that I introduced this video with. And yeah, there you go. I'm actually a little pikitteru right now though, because I was trying to think up a really good joke to end this, one that kind of blended pikiru with Tsupiki, right? Because she's been on the channel a lot and I couldn't think of it, so here you go.